Live from the Stream Center in Tampa, Florida, the home of News Channel 8, your official Bucs station. This is Bucs Bonus on WFLA Now.
The NFL schedule has been released, and we have a special episode of Bucs Bonus right here for you, just to break it down, to tell you who and when the Bucs will be playing everyone in their 50th season. This is a big day for all the sports fans. Obviously, a bit of a lull in the season, not a lot of football to talk about, but we've got this schedule here that we're going to get to talk about, Aileen. I am, of course, Garrett Phillips, your host, joined with Aileen here in the Stream Center, our Bucs Insider. Aileen, let's talk about it. The Bucs schedule. In fact, we actually can bring it up right now. Here we go. And it is a bit of a doozy to start the season, right? We have 2 road games to start the season. Aileen, what is sticking out to you here?
Well, first of all, we're going to always find something to talk about, right? Something to talk about with the Bucs, whether it's a lull or not a lull. There's always something. Actually, it was just at Bruce Arians' charity event yesterday, and a handful of the Bucs were there. Mike Evans, Levante David, I think Chris Godwin may have showed up late. Baker Mayfield was supposed to be. I mean, everybody was there. So there's always something going on. But like you said, today is really, really fun because we get to talk about the schedule, the official schedule. And like you said, we start on the road, right? But what stands out to me, first of all, I like the bye week. I personally like the bye week. I like that it's kind of middle-ish of the schedule. 4 primetime games, dude.
4 primetime games.
4 primetime games.
So,
that stands out to me.
Listen,
how about you?
I'm a big Bucs fan. I have been for pretty much my entire life.
Love
and
it.
I have to be honest.
You have to be a Bucs fan too, or I would be mad at you.
That is true. I am officially an employee here at the official station of the Bucs. Of course, I have to be, but I am in real life also. So don't, it's a little bit of a secret for everybody. But what's really important is that you have to know I'm a superstitious fan. And we have not won a primetime game since 2022, since Tom Brady was quarterbacking this team. So when I saw the schedule and when I saw 4 primetime games, starting in week 2, by the way, with a Monday night football game against the Texans, I was like, uh-oh. 4? I would have liked 2, honestly. I know a lot of people like, let's see them in primetime. Let's see what they can do when it's only them on the screen. Everyone's eyes are on them. That's when I am dreading everything, unfortunately, because they just seem to, they don't really show up when the lights come on. And that's my thing is this year I really hope they take advantage of these primetime games to prove that narrative wrong.
I agree. And last season was kind of the same thing. When there was a primetime game, you're kind of like, okay, don't think about it, because I'm like you, I'm superstitious, like religiously, very, very superstitious. So I try to manifest otherwise, other than thinking it's bad luck. But like you said, hopefully they turn that narrative this year. But last year when the primetime game came, it's like, oh man,
we've got week 2, so it's week 2 Monday night against the Texans. Week 7, another Monday night game against the Lions. 2 teams, not easy outs. Then week 12, another tough team with the Rams. Then week 15, we've got the Falcons. So that's probably, if we have to be honest about it, maybe the biggest of the 4 primetime games. It's a division opponent. And at that late in the season, you're probably jockeying for some first, second place. I mean, I think everybody believes the Bucs and the Falcons will be the 2 teams that are in the lead.
Look, I said it last year, and I'll say it again. The Bucs are going to win the division.
I
said it last year, and I'll say it again. And you can quote me on it. Cut a clip of it. Put it online. Put me.
Oh, we're going to clip
wherever,
it. Don't you worry.
Because the Bucs will win the division this year. They won it last year. I said they were going to win it last year. I said Baker Mayfield's the best quarterback in the NFC South. That's not an argument there. But yeah, I mean, dude, I agree with you. Like the primetime games, I want to see what these guys can do under the bright lights. And as an athlete, as a coach, I vividly remember speaking with the guys in the locker room after, those primetime losses, and they hate it because they're like, we want to see what we can do too in those primetime games. I think a lot of them too, whether they would admit it or not, but you got to keep in mind some of those games are like 8, 9 o'clock at night. And if you're used to those 1 p.m. games on Sunday, kind of switches up your
8 or 9 o'clock. That's about when your body's shutting down, getting ready to recover from the games.
Right. And if you're exactly, and if you're not, it just gets you out of rhythm, but it comes with the territory. Obviously, I'm just saying, guys, keep it in mind. That's all I'm saying. But I'm excited to see what they can do.
I am. So we've got a tough start, right? They have 2 games on the road. The Falcons, one of, as we mentioned, maybe the contender in the division for them. That is going to be a tough start to the season. And then at the Texans, that primetime game. Then they come home. They've got the Jets. They've got the Eagles in back-to-back games. Of course, that's the Super Bowl defending Eagles. That's going to be a tough game as well. And I
Always
think
is. But hey, remember we beat them
We did beat
year?
them last year. I was at that game, and it was fantastic.
It was awesome.
I should have put on more sunscreen than I did. But hey, it was a good game all the same. But that Eagles game, right? This is the other thing that I want to talk about. The Bucs have had, especially with Todd Bowles, a bit of a lull, right, in the middle of the season. Normally it comes on around week 6. I think it might come on earlier this year. And that's because that Eagles game is the start of a pretty rough stretch from like week 4 all the way to week 12, right? It's the Eagles. They have to travel across the country to Seattle. And regardless of whether Seattle's a good team or not, that is a tough trip to make. Then they come back home against the 49ers, should be a good team. Then they have to go to Detroit, which is a good team. And then, who knows what the Saints are going to be this year, but they travel, again, another road game. Thankfully, they're bye right in the middle of this. Then home in the Patriots, and then the 2 big ones, at Bills, at Rams. That is a rough stretch.
Yeah, congrats to Derek Carr, by the way, on his retirement. Well-deserved, beautiful career. But yeah, no, the stretch is tough. However, they have that bye week after that 4-week, 5-week stretch, right? The tough stretch. They have that bye week. I think that's really going to come in clutch and handy. And then I don't want to say it's a breeze the way through, but I say week 13, 14 through 18. I mean, it looks like a lot of wins to me. So I like that they have these tough games at the beginning. Season always, everyone's, knock on wood, everyone's healthy, everyone's motivated, everyone has this, fresh bodies, fresh minds. And if they're going to start playing difficult teams early, I would rather have that than play these difficult teams later in the season. And then again, like I mentioned, you got that bye week after that tough stretch. So I think that'll come in clutch.
We saw that play out last year. They had that stretch, I think it was like week 6 to 12 or so, where it felt like loss after loss after loss. And then they really cleaned up down the stretch at the end of the season. So hopefully they can do that again this year. Oh, another thing that I noticed, no international games.
No international games, which, do you like that or do you not like that? Do we hate it? Do we love it? Are we indifferent?
I like international games when you're the road team.
I like it when you're traveling.
Right, because
I'll
then
travel to an international game. Can we get one in like Paris again? I miss Paris already.
For anyone who doesn't know, Aileen, of course, was out there for the Olympics for
Thanks, Garrett.
WFLA. Of course,
Thanks, Garrett.
I got your back. I'm
Thanks,
here for
dude.
you.
Hey, when we golfing?
Garrett
and I golf
ready.
sometimes, guys.
Yes,
I think,
do.
Did I beat him last time?
You do. I'm not very
Come
good
on,
at
we're going to
golf.
talk about that. We'll talk about that the rest of the podcast.
Don't tell anybody. But as far as international games go, I do like international games when you're a road team. I hate giving up a home game, especially this season, because now that we're in a 17-game season, right, they kind of alternate, right? You get 8 home games one season with 9 away games, and then it flips. I don't like, especially this year, right? They had 8 home games. If you had to give up one of those for an international game, that would have been a little bit rough. Thankfully, they don't have to do that. They don't have to worry about travel, and they don't have to get passports for any part of it.
Yeah, it's a lot of travel. It's if you've been overseas, you get it. It's taxing on your body. But it's also pretty cool. Like a lot of the guys enjoy going over there and seeing something new. And of course, the NFL doing a really great job about making, this sport international and bringing just the world into it, I think is really, really cool. But logistically, that's fine. We'll have another home game here or away game here in the U.S. It's less travel and less taxing.
A couple other things I did notice. Obviously, we are opening the season with that division game against the Falcons. Then we have what I like to call the Panther sandwich. Right?
He keeps saying this. I asked him, I was like, what are you talking about, Garrett?
It's at the end of the season. I don't know if it is, but I'm going to try and make it a thing. It's at the end of the season,
Garrett.
right? We have 2 Panthers games within 3 weeks. And I think they did this last year, too. I don't remember if it was the Panthers. It might have been the Saints. But it felt like there was one of those as well. It's a sandwich of division opponents with a non-division in the middle. Now here, right, we have in these 3 weeks, 2 of them are away. But the good news is unlike the Seattle game or the Detroit game, they're not traveling very far. They're going to Carolina. They're going to Miami. You could drive there. They're not going to. They're going to get on a nice fancy jet and they're going to fly there.
You could if you wanted.
But you could drive
I
there.
went to college in North Carolina. It's not a bad drive. 8 hours.
So, yeah, so 4 home games and 2 relatively short away games. I think that looks like a pretty good back half of the season.
I like that they finish with the Panthers game. If you're a fan, you're saying, okay, easy win. But as we know, you can't assume. You know the saying. I'm not going to say it live because I like my job. But you can't assume that they're going to win these games. And I feel like a lot of times last year when we assumed they were going to beat some of these teams, they lost to them. Example, the Falcons at home.
Twice.
They lost to the Falcons at home. And away, 0-2 against the Falcons last year. They open up at the Falcons this year. I vividly remember that game, man. That home game against the Falcons. I swear it was.
That was the overtime game, correct?
I think so. It was the saddest loss of the season. I think if you had to pick one game that entire year last year that was
that
like
you want to do
worst,
over on.
Would you want to do over? It was they should have beat the Falcons.
And the Panthers looked pretty good the back half of that season. Bryce Young started to kind of turn things around for him, which, listen, I'm rooting for Bryce Young as a human being, maybe not as a football quarterback, because I don't want the Panthers to necessarily be good.
And we shall beat him.
Right, but at the very least, I hope that he does well for the rest of his career otherwise. But you're correct. I'd rather it be the Panthers than maybe the Falcons at the end of the season.
Or like the Bills.
Right.
Which, by the way, playing the Bills in regular season and preseason, that's not too common that happens. So that's something that stuck out to me as well.
Yes. We should talk about the preseason games.
Do we like that? Let's talk. Okay, we should have led with the preseason games, guys, because you can watch them right. You will watch them right here on our channel. It airs on WFLA News Channel 8 every single preseason game.
Right. Yes, we have. I believe it's Tennessee, then at Pittsburgh, and then back home for the Bills. And then that is, as you mentioned, very strange. The third preseason game is against an opponent who we are going to play again in the regular season. It happens sometimes. It makes it a little bit worse to me that it's the Bills, right? Because the Bills are maybe the best. If we're looking at the schedule, if we're being honest about it and not trying to put any of the teams down, the 2 best teams on the schedule might be the Bills and the Eagles. And so we're going to have to see the Bills in the preseason and then again in the regular season. You want especially with these really tough games against the top tier opponents, you want any type of competitive advantage you can get. Do you think there's competitive advantage from playing in the preseason beforehand?
I love it. I think when people say preseason games are, who cares? They don't count. I love it. Preseason games are unpopularly like my favorite because there's
hot take.
No, because let's talk about it. Like there's so many storylines when you're talking about preseason games. First of all, with the Bills game, I'm sure Josh Allen will play one down and then he'll chill the rest of the day. He if he even does play, but
he might not even practice.
Right, it gives them a chance though. These guys, number one, the rookies. Number two, these other players who are just fighting for a spot on the roster, who have these incredible stories, and I'm so excited to get to know these guys' stories and their storylines more and be able to share them with you guys. And the preseason is just an amazing time to do that. Now, in terms of like you said, I don't think preseason games maybe have anything to do with like confidence level too. Like, oh, hey, we beat the Bills or we went 3-0 during preseason. Like we're so confident going into the Falcons. I think it's more of like a strategic kind of, okay, this guy's obviously getting this many reps. This guy's playing this many downs, okay, we saw, and it's cool too, because like someone will score off some crazy drive and then it's like, okay, we saw what we needed to see from him. Take him out. This guy's up next. Like preseason is so opposite of regular season. And I like it.
Okay. I'm here for it. Obviously, you're going to get to see it right here on WFLA on News Channel 8. So it's a big deal for us as well. Now, listen, here's my other thing I want to talk about before we go. The Falcons at the very beginning of the season, right? A lot of people are saying maybe statement game, right? This is a team that you went 0-2 against last season, right? But you didn't play Michael Penix. You played Kirk Cousins, so there's going to be a bit of a different feel to these games. They're probably your biggest competitor in the division.
Totally.
You're playing them week 1 in Atlanta. Who do you think benefits most from this? Do you think it's the Falcons or do you think it's the Bucs?
Well, a home advantage is always nice, right? But in terms of benefiting, I don't know. If I'm the Bucs, I'm angry. If I'm the Bucs, I'm gonna think back to last season. We went 0-2 against these guys, and we should have beat them. Like, they really should have beat the Falcons both times. So I'm channeling that energy. Obviously, it's a new season. New players, new coaches. We got Josh Grizzard as the new offensive coordinator. Emeka Ibuka. I'm sure we're going to see plenty of game time from him, which is going to be so exciting.
It might be the biggest game for him because, listen, I know that they have said Chris Godwin is on track for week 1. It's a really big division matchup in week 1. And if there's a setback, if he's not 100% coming out of training camp, that might mean that Emeka Ibuka, and of course, can't forget Jalen McMillan, they might really need to step up as that number 2 guy behind Mike.
Totally. And you got veterans too, of course.
Sterling Shepard.
Yep. Right. You read my
Trey
mind.
Palmer.
So like they've got tons of receivers right now. I'd like to see them pick up somebody on defense and free agency when it comes to just that,
linebacker a little thin there for sure.
Right. But that's besides the point. It'll be fun. Obviously, Penix, he's from Tampa, so that'll be fun for him to go against his hometown team.
Yeah.
But yeah, in terms of benefiting, obviously them opening up at home, but I'd like the Bucs. I'd like to see the Bucs. I like the Bucs, and I'd like to see the Bucs channel that energy from last season going 0-2 against them. Another fun game though, Garrett, is going to be that Washington game, the Seattle Seahawks game, because Emeka Ibuka is from Washington, so that's his home. That's his home. He's going to have He'll be returning home. He'll have so many of his family members and friends going to that game. I think he had mentioned that to us when we had spoke to him. So that's going to be a fun game too. I'm trying to think of any other
That's week 5. It's a 4:00 game, so he'll get to be. It's not quite prime time, but it is what I like to consider Bucs prime time, which is just prime enough that they are not going to be worrying me all day.
There you go.
That's how I like to put it. Last thing I'll say about the Falcons game. The good news for us: Todd Bowles has been the head coach of this team. This will be his 4th year. 3-0 in week 1.
There you go.
So if we're talking
waiting to say that
we're talking about what can we do to overcome that little Falcons bugaboo from last season, it's a Todd Bowles week 1 victory. Aileen, thank you so much for joining us. Of course, the Bucs schedule release, we have the full story over on our website, WFLA.com. You can go and read it there, and you can check out all of the lovely Bucs bonus content that we have for you over at our website. Thank you guys so much for joining us.